for the first time in forever, the show that aims to fill the gaps in all of our watch lists. Now last week we dove headfirst into the imaginative world of Studio Ghibli and took a look at the revered animation classic Princess Mononoke. And if you haven't seen that video, you can check it out by clicking the link in the description below. But this week our attention turns once again to Stanley Kubrick as we take a look at his 1964 iconic political satire teetering on the cusp of potential nuclear holocaust. This is Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb. What a title. Wait a second. I am going to be talking about spoilers for this film, so consider this your warning now.
Dr. Strangelove, do we have anything like that in the works?
A moment, please, Mr. President.
Under the authority granted me as Director of Weapons Research and Development, I commissioned last year a study of this project by the Bland Corporation. Based on the findings of the report, my conclusion was that this idea was not a practical deterrent for reasons which at this moment must be all too obvious.
History time, there are no lenses in here. I don't know why I do this. So, between the years of 1947 and 1991, America and the Soviet Union found themselves in a bit of a scuffle, or to call it more precisely, it was the Cold War. Despite no large-scale fighting between the two sides, this conflict drew the attention of the entire planet, most notably due to the recent development of the nuclear bomb, a weapon that both sides possessed. With tempers at an all-time high as they fought over ideological and geographical differences, tensions grew, with a global understanding that as soon as one nation hit the first domino, World War III would commence. And it doesn't take a genius to understand that with nuclear power at stake, there wouldn't be any victors. Kubrick's aim for his sixth feature film was to bury itself in the current political context, unearthing the ineptitude of politicians and military officials, whilst at the same time ingeniously commenting on the ever-growing intensity of impending war. The film starts off with Sterling Hayden's Brigadier General Ripper announcing that he's commanding the patrolling air force over the Soviet Union to commence Wing Attack Plan R, otherwise a nuclear strike on Soviet Union territory. Slowly but surely his commands make their way through to the American War Room, where heated discussions are made about how to contact their soldiers to cease the attack and spare the entire planet from being destroyed by the secretive Soviet doomsday machine. As someone who enjoys more than their fair share of political satire, this was absolutely my bread and butter. The style of humour that Kubrick is showing off here is remarkable, with almost every joke landing on numerous layers of understanding. For instance, the film is full of outstanding one-liners that simply for their sheer lunacy are likely to make you laugh.
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
An awkward phone call between Peter Sellers' bumbling president and a clearly drunk and boisterous Dmitri is a great example.
Now then, Dmitri, you know how we've always talked about the possibility of something going wrong with the bomb.
But then exploring it even further, witnessing these clearly powerful figures who were in charge of the most powerful country on earth are acting like fools, who either can't keep control of the situation, or are clearly living in a fantasy world, refusing to accept the clear and incontrovertible truth, which that second one has a lot of relevance now. And then breaking down that joke just that one bit more, which, again, I understand is a sin in terms of comedy rules. You're not meant to explain jokes. But the fact that at this point in time, as in during 1964, the world is on this precipice of potential nuclear war, for there to be a film that unearths all of that, as well as including ridiculous characters that satirize world leaders and their military officials, well, goddamn, Kubrick is a genius. Now, in more recent years, the greatest possible comparison that I could compare Dr. Strangelove to would be Armando Iannucci's The Death of Stalin, a fellow bleakly comic political satire highlighting the stupidity of a corrupt and backstabbing Soviet government.
Are you wearing pajamas?
Yes, so?
Why?
Because I act, Lavrenti, decisively and with great speed.
I said you'd be tested, and right now you're being tested by a shouting man wearing pyjamas. Have you got a nappy under those too?
Now, there are three central plot threads going on in Doctor Strangelove. The first is with General Ripper and Captain Mandrake, with Ripper completely losing his mind and seeming hell-bent on welcoming World War III with open arms, as Mandrake is gently persuading him that, well, it might not be the best course of action. Then, flying over Soviet airspace is a group of pilots alarmed at the news to drop their bombs, but willing to follow orders nevertheless. You've got a really on-form Slim Pickens as the wild cowboy pilot, and even a minor appearance from a younger James Earl Jones too. And finally, in what perhaps houses some of the funniest scenes, not just in this film, but an argument could easily be made in film generally, we have the President of the United States hurriedly trying to resolve the situation, whilst an amazing George C. Scott is acting like a preposterous gung-ho American as General Turgidson, who is suggesting the most ridiculous of responses, and then there is also the titular Doctor Strangelove. Okay. Oh, Peter Sellers is a freaking comedic genius. He's great as Mandrake, and I thought that he was really, really fantastic as the President also. But his final scene as Strangelove, just after Kong has infamously ridden the back of the nuclear bomb down to destruction, is honestly one of the best showcases of comedic acting I have ever seen in my 22 years on this planet. He's clearly struggling to contain his inner Nazi with his hand almost forcing itself into a Sieg Heil, which was also a seriously clever touch, considering that the Cold War came as a response to the fallout of World War II and the destruction of the Nazi regime. Also, his wild suggestions of living underground for hundreds of years and having 10 wives for one man is completely bonkers. But then officials in the war room are shown considering it. And so the film wraps up with a very heartwarming montage as Dame Vera Lynn's We'll Meet Again plays over the top of simultaneous nuclear destruction.
Till the blue skies drive the dark clouds far away.
Doctor Strangelove has everything. It showed a completely different side to Kubrick that I had never seen before, and wish that we could have seen more of. It has this unbelievable biting edge of satire that is exemplified when you recollect just the global context that it was made under. Peter Sellers cements himself as one of the all-time greats, and in terms of comedies, this might just be the most intelligent one I have ever seen. So, after watching Doctor Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb, it is, without a shadow of a doubt, God tier. And so there we are, those were my thoughts on that film. Let me know, have you seen Doctor Strangelove yet, and do you agree as to whether it is this icon or not? And as I'm sure some of you are aware, we are currently on the road to 300 subscribers. In fact, we are so very, very close. So, if you are watching this video, you have enjoyed yourself, but you are not yet subscribed, please, please, click that subscribe button, and I promise you won't regret it. And as for next week, similar to what we did for October, we changed that into Spooktober. Well, come December, it's Christmas. So I thought for this series, for first time in forever, we're going to be taking a look at some of the most well-known Christmas films that I am yet to get round to seeing. And for a little teaser, here is what you can expect for next week. Thanks for watching. If you have enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more, please make sure that you click that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. All the links to my social media accounts, my Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and my letterbox are all in the description below. And if you haven't liked the video, what are you still doing here?